Interesting to hear, but yes, we are on Star Station and spawning in the top right position as the Red Zerg player. Just tied this series up 1-1, this best of 5 from Evil Geniuses. It is Jaedong. Emotions are running high, Apollo, but you couldn't tell if you looked at Jaedong's face. In the crowd, you can tell in their faces. And this guy spawning in the bottom left position as the blue Protoss player from Team My Insanity. It is Stardust.
All right, so it is tied 1 apiece. Jaedong with 1 win, Stardust with 1 win. But what I want to talk about when it comes to this map, Star Station, a lot of Protoss players have a bit of a difficult time on it against Zerg players. And the reason for that is, on the third base location, when you attempt to take it as a Protoss player, it's very, very difficult to defend it, simply because it's out in the open. You need to cover a large range of area with force fields if you're going to be able to hold this down. If we saw on the previous couple of maps, the locations around the map, whether it be aggressively or defensively, it's very easy to land force fields down and be able to hold the location. So if we have a look at the third base location here for Stardust, which is this base right here, look at the amount of open space around it. There's a massive flank from the left-hand side, there's a ramp straight in the middle, and even on the right-hand side. Force fields are not that big. They're kind of small, and you're going to have to use a lot of them to defend it. And if that's the case, if Jaedong goes for something aggressive, it is a little bit more difficult for Protoss players to defend. So what we often see on this map from Protoss players is an aggressive 2-base push.
And it's very important, very interesting that you mentioned how many force fields you need to cover that area. We have seen Stardust go for many heavy sentry-based all-ins, and I feel like that could be key here because the ramp area, or at least the area leading into the natural expansion, the second base is so much more narrow. It's much easier to abuse the positional play. But both players, once again, going for the very economic openers.
Oh, look at that.
And he's going to actually take a second hatchery quite quickly. Jaedong basically trying to take advantage of the fact that he's anticipating his opponent going for this very heavy economic open.
Yeah, so what I just want to talk about here, Stardust in every single game. In StarCraft 2, it's a strategy game, right? If you start to see patterns occur from your opponent, if he does X build time after time after time, there are builds that you can do to take an advantage over it. For example, in this game, and throughout all of Stardust, Zerg versus Protoss games, or should I say Protoss versus Zerg games, he opens up Nexus first for the majority of them. So in this case, there's no early rushes happening. There's no early attacks that Jaedong needs to be worried about. So what he's decided to do in this game is say, well, if that's going to be the case, why don't I take a really early third base? If you can't do anything about it, why wouldn't I want to improve my economy and give myself a bit of a bigger surge when it comes to the 6, 7, 8 minute mark?
And a really cool thing about taking the fast third base as a Zerg on this map, if Stardust does go for that big sentry play, go for the big sentry Stalker Immortal push, force within the natural, it's pretty rough. But if he can force an engagement by the third base, he'll have to expend a lot more force fields to be able to get that positional advantage. So what Jaedong wants to do is take a clear lead here. This probe for Stardust is going to be able to scout this, however. +1 attack coming in pretty early, Apollo.
Look at this, though. I definitely feel here that we may see something aggressive from Stardust. I was a little bit distracted then. I got a bit of honey in my ear as I was pouring myself some honey and tea, and I was scratching my ear at the same time.
British folk in your tea.
Yeah, you know, we love our cups of tea, don't we? But looking into this game is that Stardust has spotted the third hatchery. He knows it's down. He needs to do something to kind of punish this, whether it be being greedy and teching up incredibly fast himself or being incredibly aggressive himself. I haven't seen any, tech structures yet from Stardust. What is it? Okay, robotics facility coming down. So what I think that this may be is the build I described before.
And yeah, I feel like this is a pretty popular strategy, at least in Stardust, but something that he's really been employing quite significantly, going for the Immortals either for the forward pressure onto the Roaches or at least moving with a lot of sentries. And we do have those sentries already being produced. Stardust getting ready to get active on this map. Already moving in with the Zealot and the Stalker pressuring this Queen. The Zealot is quite low on hit points though. The Zerglings, though, what they really want is that Stalker, and they are going to be able to trap it here. A really big score if he can pick it off. Barely getting away. Stardust, that Stalker. Ooh, it's fearing for its life.
There's a couple of options for Stardust to choose from. And he has thrown down the Twilight Council and Forge. He's putting down that pylon to fake aggression, to prevent Jaedong from powering his economy too much. This is actually a brilliant play from Stardust. A simple little maneuver has forced Jaedong to build 12 Zerglings. He thinks his opponent's going for, as described, an early 7 to 8 minute 2-base push. He's even been denied scouting. Jaedong's throwing down a Spine Crawler. His economy's been hindered because he's producing defensive units. In reality, Stardust isn't looking to push out for another good 5 minutes. He's actually powering up with double forges, upgrading twice. So he's going to be getting +2 attack and also +1 armor from both of these forges. He will also, from the robotics facility after this observer's been made, which is going to find out what Jaedong's doing, start Immortal production. And as I say that, we do have a third Nexus coming down here. So it looks like, I was trying to describe this kind of 2-base attack I thought was coming. But with this third base, he's going to take this third base. He will start Immortal production. And around the 12 to 13 minute mark, he will go for a massive 3-base push. We've seen this play before.
Yeah, and the cool thing about how this works is, since he forced out the Zerglings so early, Jaedong deciding, okay, well, there's nothing here, so I'm going to go put some pressure on myself. He is going to go for a very interesting play, though, the Spire, but like, just finishing my point, by not having a crazy amount of economy, like you said, to get those Zerglings. If Stardust defends is basically quite fine, the Sentries having to use their force fields, and he might actually be able to deny this third.
This is a big win here for Jaedong, putting a spanner in the works if he's able to bring this down.
The Roach is going to be able to get right on top, killing the Stalker, killing the Sentries, and the Tyrant is going to be shutting this Nexus down. The production is not yet fully set up for Stardust. He is getting the Immortals out, he is getting his +1/1, but these 3 Sentries and this Immortal are going to try to stop this, the ebb and flow of these Zerglings and Roaches, and the Immortal quite strong, but he's going to barely save this.
Big play there by Stardust. Jaedong can't be happy with that. That Nexus should have gone down there. He's trying to run by. Oh, perfect warp in there by Stardust. Oh,
what?
Maybe not.
He manages to slip by the Zealot. That means he can get inside the main base mineral line. A lot of that army is already outside the probes. Going to go for some hand-to-hand combat against them. He will be able to get this around and take those out. But the +2 attack is going to complete. The +1 armor, something we haven't seen. 11 Mutalisks coming out from our Zerg player, Apollo. This is a bit different.
And also, if we look in the middle of the map here, oh, actually, excuse that. He has scouted this. He's seen the Spire. The Observer's been chased away, so he doesn't know quite where Jaedong's army is and what it's doing. We are going to see Stardust now approaching this 11-12 minute mark, push out. He's coming for another attack. Jaedong has decided to build Mutalisks. They're going to fly around. They're going to be a nuisance to deal with. He could counterattack with them. He can make sure he sets up a major defense at home. He has many options, but look, that army moving out, what is missing?
Well, it's
Stalkers.
It's anti-air.
No
yeah, exactly. And the other thing is these Mutalisks so good on this map. There's a lot of airspace around the natural, around the main base. Even that 30 can duck in from. But this push, he basically needs to do crippling amounts of damage while simultaneously holding off the aerial aggression. The Sentries do have a bit of damage, but they're not quite as powerful versus these units. And there's nothing here to stop these Mutalisks in the natural.
All right, Jaedong's going to go for this counterattack. He doesn't quite bring down that third Nexus once again. It does get saved. Mutalisks doing a lot of damage. Probes are going down. This is hurting the economy, but remember, there's a big attack up there. What Jaedong's planning to do is hurt the economy so much that the aggressive Stalkers can't be made, and down falls the third Nexus. And if Jaedong can hinder the anti-air production and keep his Mutalisk count increasing, he'll be able to win this game. There just simply won't be enough anti-air.
Yeah, and the other thing is he does have the Stalkers now trying to come in here, trying to make something happen. If he can defend this, he is doing a lot of damage to Jaedong's bases, but Mutalisks, with the rapid regeneration of their health, they heal faster than any other Zerg unit, is going to be able to take these fights, and as long as he can slowly but surely kill the Stalkers that are being warped in, he's going to win this game. All the Stalkers are dead. The Mothership Core activates its last potion overcharge to allow the Nexus to fight, but the Cybernetics Core, if he kills this, he won't be able to make any more anti-air at all.
Yeah, if he kills that Cybernetics Core, goodbye anti-air. That's going to sting. He's only got 2 Stalkers and 6 Sentries. Sentries, he's got 6 of them, but they tickle Mutalisks. They rub their bellies. They don't do the damage necessary like Stalkers do, and all of a sudden, Stardust is in trouble. Despite Jaedong being down in supply, he can't build any anti-air. There's a bunch of spine crawlers coming down. Look at the supplies. It shows that Stardust is winning, but he doesn't have anti-air. Only 6 sentries versus 12 Mutalisks. He doesn't have any money. He doesn't have a cybernetics core. Jaedong is mining so many minerals and building static defense to hold off that 1-1 base.
What Stardust is basically doing right now, he's saying, okay, my only chance at winning this game is if I can somehow kill off all of your buildings before you completely cripple me, or at least kill off all of mine. The Zerglings and the Mutalisks are going to shut down basically the last vestige hope of Stardust. There are a couple of photon cannons that they do count as anti-air, but there's not enough of them. They're going to be killed off as well. And Stardust, he has actually shut down a lot of this, but all he needs is a single drone to run to the other side of the map, build a, just create an extractor or something like that. But he actually doesn't have any more money.
Oh,
where are Jaedong's buildings?
He's attacking into the spine crawlers here. A bad decision because there's simply only 2 immortals. And Jaedong's going to return, I think. Maybe not. Hold on a minute. He's going to kill this Nexus first, then go. So if he kills this Nexus, there is no way at all to rebuild it. There's no way at all to actually, mine money to make anti-air. There's only those sentries, and he's already lost a couple. Jaedong needs to return. He cannot lose this base himself. Remember, he only has a couple of structures left. Jaedong, Mutalisks, where are they?
Well, they're now finally making their way over, but the Zealots and Immortals might be able to pick off these remaining buildings. Of course, the Broodlings that come out from the destroyed Zerg buildings to try to stop this. What does Jaedong have left?
Oh.
Just these 2 extractors. Stardust could win this game.
Stardust down the south. Probes are going to kill the last extractor.
Oh my god! He's going to get the extractor! He's going to win this game! The base race may go in favor of our Protoss player! He's got the surround! Oh my god!